mountain behind me is the fun I'm going to be having all of October. Hey, hi, hello, and good afternoon. My name is Amanda, and welcome to my channel. In this video, we are going to be talking about Preptober. And if you don't know what Preptober is, do you even go to this school? Preptober is the term a lot of writers use to describe October. We use the month of October to prepare for NaNoWriMo. And if you don't know what NaNoWriMo is, it stands for National Novel Writing Month, and it happens every November. The goal is for you to write 50,000 words of a novel within the 30 days of November. Last year was my very first NaNoWriMo, after years and years and years of saying, oh, I'm going to participate this year, and then I never did. I had a very fun and successful first NaNoWriMo where I hit 60,210 words. I won, yay! I worked on book 1 of the trilogy that I'm currently working on during last year's Nano, and then JanoWriMo, and then Camp NaNoWriMo's April and July of 2019. I've just been working on book 1 basically since, well, if you don't count the 3 years of preparation to start writing. This trilogy actually started back in 2005 through 2007 as a Sims 2 story series, and even before I called it quits on the series on the Sims 2 site, I knew someday I wanted to turn this series into a novel or a series of novels. Originally it was just going to be a duology, but during Nano last year, when I was writing the book, I realized quickly, this is not one book. This is 2 books. In the one book I thought I was writing, I could probably go on and on and on with this world that I'm in the 90s, this paranormal spiritual tilt to it. I could live in the 90s forever. I was a child of the 80s and 90s and graduated in 2000, so the 90s hold a very special place in my heart, and I will always love to live vicariously through my characters in the 90s once again. Here's a clip that I cut out of a recent vlog that I was doing that is going to explain what I'm working on for Preptober, so go ahead and roll clip. Come October 1st, I can start outlining the second book in this trilogy. That is the book that I'm going to be writing for Nano, and I want to take the whole month of October to really flesh out all my beats from the Save the Cat beat sheet, figure out the story structure, the arcs, the theme. The book that I wrote for last Nano, I partway through Nano figured out that this is not just one book, there's way too much going on, there's way too much here. This is 2 books. So I needed, for the 2 books that I had one theme for, one main conflict, 3 or 4 subplots, I now have to break those apart from each other and give book 2 its own arc, its own theme, its own everything. And a lot of the threads that I had started in book 1 are going to be running into book 2 and some even into book 3. But for the most part, I want book 2 not to be the bridge between the beginning and the end of this trilogy. I want it to be significant in and of itself and to feel like I put just as much work into it as I'm going to put into book 1 and eventually book 3. Because what actually happens in book 2, I'm very excited to write, and I'm very excited to bring to life in words. I need to really allow myself the whole month of October to give myself the best start that I can for Nano. And of course, I'm probably not going to write the whole thing in Nano. Of course, I want to try to get 50,000 words, but whatever progress I make during Nano, that is a great start for, the first draft of this second book that I'm working on. So I'm really hoping that I can at least have a good feel for everything I want to do. And I have very good ideas for what is going to go down in this book and everything, but those ideas were ingrained in what I had for book 1. So now I have to basically slow everything down and spread it out over a whole book. And believe me, it's not going to be too hard because there's a lot of ground to cover in just what I had decided was too much to put into book 1. So more than enough ideas and scenes and everything that's going to happen. I just want to get a really good idea of how, the sequence of events, how things build on each other, how relationships morph and change, and just how all the drama plays out. I'm just really excited to do that, but I haven't allowed myself since preparing for Nano last year to even really visit what's going to be happening in what's now considered book 2. All right, we're back. Now that you know the what, I'm gonna maybe try to describe the how. Because this book that I've been currently working on, my current work in progress that's now on hold because draft 2 is complete. I'm so weird. But really, this used to house my duology, book 1 and 2. And then during Nano, as I've described to you 50 million times here, this book that I was writing during Nano 2018 quickly became 2 books, so my duology turned into a trilogy just like that. So this is what I'm working with for what's now considered book 2. It's this nice little chunk. Book 1 is tucked back here. So this chunk in the front part of this split here is book 3. And as you can see by that, I started having book 3 be the book I was gonna write, and then I realized there's just way too much to have go down before this thing happens, to where I wanted to make the readers really aware of all the backstory and stuff, and the backstory took on a life of its own, and I'm very happy with the now 2 books that backstory has become, or in the midst of becoming. We have my beats and scenes, all these scenes and all the information I've written down about it. Really happy with this. I got a nice start on that Save the Cat beat sheet. I know a lot of the main plot points already, but because this was going to be part of book 1, I had to kind of shift things around because the climax of book 1 was originally the midpoint of the book I was going to write for Nano last year that turned into 2 books. I don't know how to keep describing original or book 1, book 2, whatever. But yeah, all of these, and it doesn't look like a very thick stack, but I promise you there are a lot of words, there's a lot of information, stuff is front and back. Multiple cards are paper clipped into place to keep things neat and tidy, as I make a mess of them. But what I'm going to be working on is getting this information down into an outline and using my story structure and creating character arcs and Save the Cat and Story Genius, using all of those books to figure out the story structure, the theme, the premise. I mean, I already know a lot of that, but I want to make sure everything is clear cut and on par with the writing that I want to do. Make sure everything is spelled out. The theme is really prevalent and not lost somewhere in translation. And I may outline a little different than most. I mean, I guess you could already consider this an outline, I guess. I don't know. But I want to pretty it up and get it all in a nice order and have it up above my manuscript in the binder of Scrivener at the top. It doesn't go towards your word count, but it's something that you just have right there that you can access and look at and gaze at, and I always have that story structure and all of that put in place. But I also have it here, a physical copy. This was book 1, the plot structure for book 1, all the notes about the character arc, the want, the need, all the plots and subplots, all the beats there, the backstory. There's a lot here, it's all just clustered together. The Save the Cat beat sheet information, which really the story structure and the Save the Cat beat sheet, they do coincide, but they just use different terminology. Like the catalyst in the Save the Cat is the same as inciting incident in your basic hero's journey story structure. So the genre of book 1, if you're using the Save the Cat method, the genre of book 1 was a rite of passage book, and the more I think about it, book 2 is, because it started as part of book 1, is really a continuation of that. I mean, she had her own arc and realization about things in book 1, but it's like she takes that realization to another level in book 2. So really, it's like she's carrying that torch into book 2. I know for sure that book 3 is going to be in the genre, again, if you're using the Save the Cat, it will be in the genre buddy love, with hints of rite of passage and a couple other genres in there, but they say to pick the genre that fits most with your storyline and use that as the guide. You don't have to adhere to it, 100%. I'm sure you can name a story that doesn't adhere completely to any kind of plot structure, but it still makes sense and everything still gets tied up at the end. I'm kind of rambling at this point, so I think I'm gonna go. You have a general overview of what I'm working on, and I will use my upcoming vlogs to vlog my Preptober process and my outlining process and all of that. So this is just kind of giving you a overview of what I'm going to be working on until Nano, and then of course Nano will be me writing this book. So I'm excited. I'm really excited. I've been waiting, well, a year, because I thought I was going to be writing this last November, but when I realized it was 2 books, I knew I had to put this on the back burner. This is my back burner, this little thing here. It's about time it saw the light of day again, and hopefully by this time next year, 2020, I'll be pulling out book 3 and doing this exact same thing with book 3. I'm done rambling. I will see you guys in my next vlog, documenting my Preptober process, so I'll see you there. You'll have to drop me a comment below letting me know if you're participating in Preptober, if you're participating in Nano this year, what it is you're writing, anything funny or cool about your characters or your story or your plot. Just let me know all the cool things, because I love to hear what you guys are working on. And I'll see you guys next time. All right, bye!